Whenever I get asked, Ginny, I want to advance and I want to continue to grow in my career, and I find myself in this place where I feel stuck. And when I ask them questions about what is it that they feel stuck about, people usually feel stuck about how do I navigate my environment so that I can reach the heights that I see myself reaching at my job. Let's be honest, there are people who probably don't know as much as you do, sometimes doing quote unquote bigger jobs than you are. And it's very concerning and disheartening when that happens because automatically we think, well, how come that's not me? How come I was not promoted to lead the group or lead the team or lead the department? And what I have found for some of us who happen to be a certain type of personality is that whether we're introverts or extroverts, we may be carrying around a certain set of beliefs that, based on those beliefs, we may think that the way to move up in a company is simply by others recognizing our value and tapping us on the shoulders and telling us, I want you to lead this initiative, or I want you to be in charge of this department. And that's one way to think about it. And if it hasn't worked for you, perhaps it's time to start shifting that belief that that's how it's supposed to happen, because every place is different. Maybe that's what you've experienced earlier on in your career. And as a result, you develop the belief that that's how it's supposed to happen. However, those of us who've been around the block a few times know that there are many different combinations of how ascending through the ranks can happen. And one of those is by truly becoming aligned between the vision that you have for yourself in the future and the person and the professional that you are today. And when we begin to do the things that I'm going to show you in this training, everything changes. And you notice that people are noticing you. They're actually acknowledging the work that you're doing. They are seeking you out for guidance and support, and they promote you. And here's the number one thing that needs to shift for you to catapult to your next level. If that's something that you're interested in, you may not be, and that's okay. But this is you, if you're someone who is interested in maximizing your earning potential so that your family can benefit the most, so that you can receive the financial, the emotional, and the spiritual rewards that come with knowing that you're operating at your highest potential, listen up. The number one secret to elevating yourself in any environment that you frequent is to claim your expertise. And I'll give you an example. When I began my new career and I retired from corporate, I remember attending one of the trainings for a year, a whole year program with Steve Harrison. And we went to this Sheraton Hotel in near the airport in Philadelphia. And in the small conference room that we were gathering, I remember we did an exercise where he had us write down what is my expertise. And I wrote down, I am a leadership expert with over 20 years of experience in the corporate world and over blah, 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 blah experience. And when I then stood up and my assignment, our assignment was to go around the room and introduce ourselves to these new people that we were just meeting, it was so nerve-wracking. There was so much frenzy energy inside of me saying, wait, I have to claim that I am a leadership expert? And the truth is that if after 20 years in a leadership role and multiple leadership roles, if I don't claim my expertise after that length of time, when am I going to claim that I am a leadership expert? I noticed how at the get go, I was feeling uneasy and not confident at all about what I was saying. However, as I began to share it freely in a safe space, I noticed that the more that I shared it, the more comfortable I became, and I began to own it. And I began to feel like, yes, I am a leadership expert. I have been in these roles for over 20 years. I have made it all the way through the different levels of the organization. So I know the challenges at each of those levels from my perspective, of course. And I've also had many conversations with colleagues who have experienced their role in leadership at different levels of the organization. So I feel that in a way, through them, I also have their experiences to refer to. And so by the end of the exercise, I was claiming I am a leadership expert and I believed it. The reason why this works is because we cannot pretend or try to think that someone else will see us as the leader that we see ourselves as before we see it for ourselves. They need to see us operating, living in, speaking from, bringing our presence as the leader that we want to be promoted to. And if you notice, many of you, or maybe even people you know, have been promoted after having done the job that you got promoted to for a little while, right? It's almost like the promotion was the official way to say, okay, Ginny, you've been doing this level of work. Let me give you the title and let me give you the recognition and let me give you the compensation that comes along with that role. So notice how claiming it is step number one. Owning it is part of claiming it. And giving yourself the belief that this is something that I do and I bring and I contribute to my environment. And show up in that energy, show up in that spirit with that level of expertise, with that level of confidence and certainty, and people will begin to see you in that fashion. And when they do, the people in leadership will notice Ginny's showing up as a leader. Ginny's showing up as the person we need to lead X, Y, and Z initiative, or this department, or this group, etc. That's the first secret. The second secret to advancing and growing and continuing your impact and your influence within your organization is to raise your energetic vibration. During the programs that I teach and that I mastermind with talented women and that I coach, we always start with what are we celebrating? And we start that not by accident, but it's actually designed to be that way because we want to raise our energetic vibration. Notice that when you are feeling low in energy, not a lot of greatness is happening there. This could be a lot of restoring and healing, and all of those things could be happening there. But in a very low energetic state, and to add to that, in a negative low energetic state, very little happens. We don't feel expansive. We feel contracted. We don't feel creative. We feel that we are fuzzy, confused, overwhelmed, underwhelmed. All of those are the types of feelings we feel when we are in a low, negative, emotional state versus in a more vibrant, energized, energetic state. And so when you notice yourself in this lower vibrating state, we have always the choice to switch to a higher one, like flipping a switch. And the switch is gratitude. What are you celebrating? What are you grateful for? The minute you shift your focus to that, you flip that switch and you automatically start going up the spiral of emotions into the more neutral emotions and eventually into the positive emotions. So you can go from hopelessness to discontent to just feeling content to feeling hopeful. and joyful and grateful. Those are the types of levels that we can escalate ourselves through when we have the mindfulness to notice how we are feeling. So there's a lot of inherent assumptions that I'm kind of making in that statement, which is that you can, one, be mindful and present to notice how you're feeling at the moment, and two, that you can make the choice with self awareness that you are in this particular emotional state and you want to shift into a more positive or at least neutral emotional state. I talk about this in my number one best-selling book, Healing Leadership. And I believe I also talk about it in my first number one bestseller, Fearless Women at Work. So, what have you gleaned from this training today? From my perspective, number one, that you need to start claiming your level of expertise and living the level that you want to be promoted to. Number two, that is very challenging to happen unless you are in a positive energetic state. And the way to raise your vibration is to focus on gratitude, focus your team, focus yourself on what's working well. What are we doing that's great? And let's continue to do more. Let's continue to put in place the plans that we need to get the results and reach the objectives that we want. And that only happens when you bring your highest self with mindfulness, using the tool of gratitude, and also noticing what is happening for the team. What is their energetic state? How are they showing up? Are they low in energy or do they look vibrant? And if they look vibrant, great. If they look low, let's use the tool that I gave you to help them raise their energetic state. And in a high energetic state and in a state of mindfulness and owning your expertise, there's a lot of great things that come from that. And if you happen to be challenged in doing those things, I want you to know that you're not alone and that there is support. In September, the 12th and 18th, I will be hosting the Fearless Leadership Masterclass. It's a place where I'm going to show you the 4 keys that I have applied myself and that I teach my clients and our talented members repeatedly year after year so they can claim and own their vision and unique value so they can develop critical relationships that will support them to advance and grow, increase the level of influence within their organization, and to build an action plan that will support them going forward to achieve their goals and their beautiful leadership vision. And then I'm going to teach you the 4th key, which is how to strengthen the bridge to get there by leveraging sponsors. That is only the beginning, my friends. And if you can see, there is a lot more that I can teach you beyond that. But those will be our key objectives during the masterclass in September. So if you are down for that and you have never joined us before, go to fearlessleadershipmasterclass.com to save your virtual free VIP seat. And if you have joined us in the past, I'm going to be sending you an email. You'll check your inbox and click the link that says, I am in, save my VIP seat to join us in September. Live with purpose, live with joy, and remember that what is happening to you today is a reflection of where you are in your mindset and where you are in your actions. If you're not seeing the results you want, we have to tweak one or both of these components in your life, and your life will be transformed. I'll see you soon.